Welcome back, coin collectors. Do you have these top 4 rare Washington quarters? You may be a very lucky person, because some of these coins could be worth a lot of money. Most people spend them without a second thought. But collectors know that the smallest detail can make a huge difference. Today, we're breaking down 4 Washington quarters that look ordinary, yet in the right condition. With the right mint mark or error, they can be worth far more than face value. Before you spend another quarter, watch closely, because one of these might already be in your pocket. Let's start from 1988. Washington quarter is one of the most misunderstood modern U.S. coins ever produced. To most people, it looks exactly like any other quarter they've spent hundreds of times without a second thought. It doesn't stand out. It doesn't look rare. And that is precisely why so many valuable examples have been overlooked, spent, or damaged over the years. In 1988, the United States Mint was focused on producing massive quantities of circulating coinage. Demand was high, and speed was a priority. Quarters were struck mainly at 2 mint facilities: Philadelphia, which produced coins with no mint mark, and Denver, which produced coins bearing a small D mint mark beneath George Washington's ponytail. At the same time, San Francisco was striking proof coins specifically for collectors. Although millions of quarters were produced that year, quality control was inconsistent. Dies were often used longer than ideal, resulting in weak strikes. Fine details in Washington's hair, jawline, and facial features were frequently soft. On the reverse, the eagle's feathers often appeared flat or incomplete. Because of this, most 1988 quarters entered circulation already lacking sharp detail, and many became worn very quickly. This is where collector value begins to separate itself from face value. A circulated 1988 Washington quarter is still worth only 25 cents. Even heavily worn examples with scratches, nicks, or discoloration hold no premium. But when condition improves, value changes dramatically. Coins that survived without circulation wear, known as mint state coins, are far scarcer than people realize. Lower mint state examples, such as MS-63 or MS-64, may sell for just a few dollars. Coins graded MS-65 can range from $10 to $20. Once you reach MS-66, prices often rise into the $40 to $80 range. But the real jump happens at MS-67 and above. At that level, values can climb into the hundreds of dollars, sometimes exceeding $500 or more depending on eye appeal, strike quality, and overall surface preservation. Collectors pay close attention to small details when evaluating these coins. They examine Washington's hair above the ear, the sharpness of the word liberty, the clarity of "In God We Trust," and the strength of the eagle's chest feathers on the reverse. Even slight weakness in these areas can reduce the grade and significantly lower the value. Mint marks also matter. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, while Denver coins display a D. Both mints produced collectible examples, but Denver quarters are often more weakly struck. A sharply struck Denver coin in very high mint state condition is especially desirable because it is far more difficult to find. Beyond condition, errors play a major role in determining value. During high-speed production, mistakes were inevitable. Some 1988 Washington quarters were struck off-center, meaning the design appears shifted toward one side. Others were broad-struck, lacking a properly formed rim. There are also examples with die cracks, cut errors where metal blobs form near the rim, grease-filled dies that weaken parts of the design, and even double strikes where the coin was struck more than once. Minor error coins can sell for $50 to $150, depending on visibility and demand. More dramatic errors can bring several $100s, especially when authenticated by a professional grading service. These coins are highly sought after because each error is unique. One of the most important lessons collectors learn with the 1988 Washington quarter is that cleaning a coin destroys its value. Polishing, scrubbing, or wiping a coin removes original surfaces and leaves hairline scratches that permanently lower the grade. Even a well-intentioned attempt to make it shiny can turn a valuable coin into one worth only face value. Two 1988 quarters can appear nearly identical to an untrained eye, yet one might be worth 25 cents while the other is worth hundreds of dollars. The difference comes down to luster, strike quality, surface preservation, and originality. Collectors want coins that look exactly as they did when they left the mint, untouched and unaltered. Interest in this coin has increased over time due to registry set competition. Advanced collectors compete to own the highest graded examples known, and as fewer pristine coins remain, demand continues to grow. Coins that were once ignored are now carefully examined, graded, and preserved. The 1988 Washington quarter proves that rarity is not always about age or low mintage numbers. Sometimes rarity is about survival. Coins that escape circulation, damage, and improper handling become scarce over time, and scarcity drives value. Before spending a quarter dated 1988, it's worth taking a closer look. Check the surfaces, the details, and the overall condition. What seems ordinary at first glance might tell a much more valuable story. The 1989 Washington quarter is another coin that almost everyone underestimates. At first glance, it appears no different from the millions of other quarters produced in the late 1980s. It carries the same familiar portrait of George Washington, the same eagle on the reverse, and the same 25-cent denomination that causes people to dismiss it instantly. But beneath that ordinary appearance lies a coin that has quietly become one of the most challenging modern quarters for collectors to find in truly high condition. In 1989, the United States Mint continued operating at high speed to meet circulation demands. Quarters were produced primarily at the Philadelphia Mint, which issued coins without a mint mark, and the Denver Mint, which struck coins marked with a small d. San Francisco again produced proof versions for collectors, but the coins entering everyday circulation came almost entirely from Philadelphia and Denver. Although mintage numbers were high, quality control once again became an issue. Dyes were used heavily, and many coins left the mint with weak strikes. Washington's hair detail, especially near the ear and the ribbon, was often flat. The lettering in Liberty sometimes lacked sharp edges, and the eagle's chest feathers on the reverse were frequently indistinct. As a result, most 1989 quarters were already imperfect when they entered circulation. Because of this, truly well-struck examples are much rarer than the production numbers suggest. A circulated 1989 Washington quarter remains worth only face value. Even lightly worn coins with dull surfaces or contact marks carry no premium. But when a coin survives without circulation wear and retains strong luster, collector interest increases dramatically. Mint state examples graded MS-63 or MS-64 may sell for a few dollars. Coins graded MS-65 often fall into the $10 to $20 range. At MS-66, prices begin to rise sharply, sometimes reaching $50 or more. But at MS-67 and above, the 1989 quarter enters a completely different category. At that level, values commonly reach several $100s, and the finest known examples have sold for over $1,000 at auction. These prices are not based on hype. They are driven by scarcity. Very few 1989 quarters survived in pristine condition, and even fewer display the sharp strike and clean surfaces required for top grades. As registry set collecting has grown, competition for these high-grade coins has intensified, pushing prices higher year after year. Mint marks play an important role in desirability. Philadelphia coins tend to show slightly better strikes overall, but Denver coins with strong detail are far rarer. A sharply struck 1989 D quarter with full hair detail and a well-defined eagle is especially desirable to advanced collectors. Small differences in strike quality can mean the difference between a modestly valuable coin and a highly prized one. Errors add another layer of collectability. During high-speed production, mistakes occurred, and some escaped into circulation. Off-center strikes are among the most popular, where the design appears shifted away from the center of the coin. Broad strikes, where the coin lacks a fully formed rim, are also known. Die cracks, die chips, And grease-filled dies can weaken parts of the design and create unique appearances that collectors actively seek. Minor error coins can sell for $50 to $200 depending on visibility and condition. More dramatic errors, especially those that significantly alter the coin's appearance, can bring several $100s or more. As always, authentication is crucial, as damaged coins are often mistaken for mint errors. Proof versions of the 1989 quarter were struck in San Francisco and sold directly to collectors. Most proof coins are common, but even here, errors and exceptional condition can increase value. Proof coins with deep mirrored fields and flawless surfaces are more desirable, while any signs of damage or cleaning reduce value significantly. One of the most common mistakes people make with the 1989 quarter is attempting to clean it. Cleaning removes original mint luster and leaves microscopic scratches that permanently damage the coin's surface. Even gentle wiping can lower a coin's grade. A cleaned coin, no matter how rare, loses much of its collector appeal. Collectors value originality above all else. They look for coins with untouched surfaces, natural luster, and crisp detail. Two coins from the same year can look nearly identical to a casual observer, yet one might be worth face value while the other commands hundreds of dollars. The difference lies in preservation and strike quality. The 1989 Washington quarter teaches an important lesson about modern coin collecting. Rarity does not always come from low mintage numbers or dramatic design changes. Sometimes rarity comes from survival. Coins that avoid circulation, damage, and improper handling become scarce over time, even if millions were originally produced. As collectors continue to focus on high-grade examples and registry sets, demand for top-quality 1989 quarters is likely to remain strong. These coins represent a period when quantity overshadowed quality, making pristine survivors increasingly difficult to find. Before spending a quarter dated 1989, it's worth slowing down and taking a closer look. Examine the details, the surfaces, and the overall condition. What appears ordinary at first glance may be far more valuable than you expect. The 1995 Washington quarter sits at a very interesting point in modern U.S. coinage. By the mid-1990s, quarters were still being produced in massive quantities, yet subtle changes in minting practices, die preparation, and circulation patterns began to affect how many high-quality examples actually survived. To most people, a 1995 quarter is nothing more than spare change. To collectors, however, it represents one of the most condition-sensitive coins of the entire decade. In 1995, the United States Mint struck Washington quarters primarily at the Philadelphia Mint, with no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, marked with a D. San Francisco continued producing proof coins for collectors. While overall production numbers were large, the quality of many circulation strikes was inconsistent. Dies were often pushed to their limits, and coins were released quickly into circulation, where they immediately began to pick up contact marks and wear. As a result, the vast majority of 1995 quarters found today show signs of circulation. They may have dull surfaces, weak detail, or small nicks and scratches that instantly limit their collector value. In circulated condition, a 1995 quarter remains worth only its face value of 25 cents. No matter how old it may appear. Collector interest begins only when the coin remains in mint state. Even then, lower mint state grades such as MS-63 and MS-64 are relatively common and usually sell for just a few dollars. Coins graded MS-65 are more desirable and can sell in the $10 to $20 range. But just like earlier years, the real rarity appears at MS-66 and higher. High-grade 1995 Washington quarters are far scarcer than most people realize. Coins graded MS-66 often sell for $50 or more, depending on eye appeal. Once a coin reaches MS-67, values can jump dramatically, sometimes reaching several $100s. The finest known examples have sold for even higher amounts due to intense competition among registry set collectors. One of the main challenges with the 1995 quarter is strike quality. Washington's hair detail, especially above the ear and along the ponytail ribbon, is often weak. The lettering in Liberty may appear soft, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse frequently lack definition. A sharply struck coin with strong detail on both sides is far more difficult to find than mintage figures suggest. Mint marks also play a role in value. Philadelphia coins generally show slightly better strikes, but Denver coins with exceptional detail are much scarcer. A high-grade 1995 D quarter with strong luster and minimal contact marks is highly sought after and commands a premium over more common examples. Errors add another dimension to collectability. During high-speed production, mistakes occasionally occurred, and some escaped detection. Known errors include off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, die chips, and grease-filled dies that weaken parts of the design. While minor errors may only add modest value, dramatic errors can sell for hundreds of dollars, especially when professionally authenticated. Proof quarters from 1995 were struck at the San Francisco Mint and sold to collectors. Most proof coins are readily available, but condition still matters. Proof coins with deep mirrored fields, sharp devices, and no blemishes are more desirable. Proof errors, though rare, can command significant premiums when they appear on the market. One of the most common reasons valuable 1995 quarters lose their potential is improper handling. Cleaning, polishing, or wiping a coin removes its original surface and destroys mint luster. Even a lightly cleaned coin can lose most of its collector value. Collectors prefer coins that remain exactly as they left the mint, with untouched surfaces and natural brilliance. The difference between a common coin and a valuable one often comes down to preservation. Two 1995 quarters can look nearly identical to an untrained eye. Yet one may be worth only face value, while the other is worth hundreds of dollars. The difference lies in luster, strike sharpness, surface quality, and originality. As interest in modern coins continues to grow, the 1995 Washington quarter has gained attention from collectors who recognize how difficult it is to find in top condition. Registry set competition has pushed demand higher, especially for coins graded MS67 and above. With time, these high-quality examples are becoming even scarcer. The 1995 quarter is a reminder that rarity is not always obvious. Millions were struck, yet very few survived without damage. Coins that escaped circulation, mishandling, and cleaning have become desirable precisely because so many others did not. Before spending a quarter dated 1995, take a moment to examine it closely. Look at the details, the surfaces, and the overall condition. What seems like ordinary pocket change could turn out to be a quietly valuable survivor. The 1997 Washington quarter holds a special place in modern U.S. coinage because it represents the closing chapter of an era. Just 1 year later, the state quarters program would completely change the design and the way Americans viewed quarters. Because of that, many collectors now look back at pre-state quarters with renewed interest. And the 1997 issue has quietly become one of the most condition-sensitive coins of the late 1990s. In 1997, the United States Mint produced Washington quarters in enormous quantities to meet everyday circulation needs. Coins were struck at the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, and at the Denver Mint with a D mint mark. San Francisco once again produced proof versions for collectors. Despite the large production numbers, most of these coins entered circulation almost immediately, where they were exposed to wear, contact marks, and environmental damage. As a result, nearly all 1997 quarters found today show signs of circulation. Worn examples, scratched surfaces, or dull luster mean the coin remains worth only its face value of 25 cents. Even lightly circulated coins carry no premium. Collector value begins only when a coin survives in mint state condition, with strong luster and minimal surface damage. Lower mint state examples such as MS63 and MS64 are relatively common and usually sell for just a few dollars. Coins graded MS65 may reach the $10 to $20 range. However, once a 1997 quarter reaches MS66, prices begin to rise noticeably. At MS67, values can increase dramatically, often reaching several $100s. The finest known examples have sold for even higher amounts due to strong demand and limited supply. One of the biggest challenges with the 1997 Washington quarter is strike quality. Many coins exhibit weak detail in Washington's hair, especially around the ear and ponytail ribbon. The lettering in Liberty may appear soft, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse are often flat or indistinct. Coins with sharp detail on both sides are far scarcer than mintage figures suggest, making them especially desirable to collectors. Mint marks also influence collectability. Philadelphia coins tend to show slightly stronger strikes overall, while Denver coins are more likely to display weakness in key areas. A well-struck 1997 D quarter with full detail and strong luster is particularly difficult to find and commands a premium when graded at high levels. Errors continue to add excitement to this issue. Known errors include off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, die chips, and grease-filled dies that result in missing or distorted design elements. While minor errors may add modest value, more dramatic and visually striking errors can sell for hundreds of dollars, especially when professionally authenticated by a grading service. Proof versions of the 1997 quarter were struck in San Francisco and sold directly to collectors. Most proof coins are readily available, but condition remains critical. Proof coins with deep mirrored fields, strong contrast, and flawless surfaces are more desirable. Any signs of handling, spotting, or cleaning significantly reduce value. Proof errors, though rare, can command substantial premiums when they appear on the market. Improper handling remains one of the biggest threats to the value of a 1997 quarter. Cleaning, polishing, or wiping the coin removes original mint surfaces and permanently damages luster. Even coins that appear brighter after cleaning lose collector appeal. Collectors seek originality above all else, preferring coins that remain exactly as they left the mint. The difference between a common 1997 quarter and a valuable one often comes down to subtle details. Two coins may look nearly identical to the casual observer, yet one may be worth only face value while the other is worth hundreds of dollars. That difference lies in surface preservation, strike sharpness, luster, and originality. As interest in pre-state Washington quarters continues to grow, the 1997 issue has gained attention as one of the final circulation strikes of a classic design. Registry set collectors compete for the highest graded examples, and as fewer pristine coins remain, demand continues to increase. The 1997 Washington quarter reminds collectors that the end of an era often creates future value. Coins that once seemed ordinary become historically significant over time, especially when they survive in exceptional condition. Before spending a quarter dated 1997, take a moment to examine it closely. Look beyond the date and denomination. Check the details, the surfaces, and the overall condition. What appears to be ordinary pocket change may turn out to be a valuable reminder of a design that marked generations of American coinage.